Thanks, Mr. Hunt, for presenting the union view of this controversy. It was valuable for board members to hear. My own thoughts on this is that this is not the forum to negotiate a labor agreement.
Hey, get them back to the table.
Yeah, back to the table.
Stop violating the law.
Either was the 5 o'clock news.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. Also, I do think that TriMet is willing to go back to the bargaining table, is my understanding. So let's hope we can.
Why aren't they there? Why aren't they there?
If I may, because the question hasn't been asked, but I would like, there seems to be an ongoing area, and as I'm out there talking with people and communicating, what the law is and where is the difference. Because I was hoping that somebody on your side would challenge me, because clearly we keep talking about the law. We keep talking about doing it legally, and we keep talking about TriMet to abide by it. Most people probably don't understand that ATU 757 was the sponsor of this legislation. We put forward to it. We felt that citizens of this community, their vital transportation is just like police officers and firefighters. And when we're unable to resolve an issue, that dispute should be settled by a third party. That's what we are willing to do. Let me briefly walk you through what the law states. The claim that allows TriMet to forego pay raises and pass on insurance increases to members. The law reads, during the pendency of arbitration proceedings that occur after the expiration of the previous collective bargaining agreement, all wages and benefits shall remain frozen at the level last in effect before the agreement expired, except that no public employer shall be required to increase contributions for insurance premiums unless the expired collective bargaining agreement provides otherwise. The key language, unless the expressing collective bargaining agreement provides otherwise. In case of the TriMet contract, that's exactly what it does. The contract provides a status quo until it is done. Previous TriMet management has recognized the language and continued the wages and insurance benefits, including increases after the contract expired for many years, even after transit workers' interest arbitration law became effective. TriMet has complied with the parties' agreement and continued to provide wages and insurance premium increases after the contract expired. As I said earlier, the current contract we're working under expired November 30th, 2009.
Amen.
All bargaining unit employees received a cost of living increase on December 1st, 2009. Why did TriMet provide the increase? Because they knew the contract required it. On January 1, 2010, the insurance plan premiums provide bargaining unit employees with an increase. TriMet paid the full increase because the contract required. TriMet paid 100% of the premiums. Why did TriMet pay the increases? Because they knew the contract required it. On January 1st, 2010, all bargaining unit employees received the cost of living increase. Why did TriMet give them the increase? Because the contract required it. Now after nearly 2 years, someone apparently at TriMet, managers, that they don't have to continue the practice and the contractual requirement to cover negotiated wage and increased benefits. To me, it doesn't pass the smell test. The attorneys can make a lot of money offering the advice, but in the long run, TriMet will lose. Our operators are professional, our mechanics work tirelessly, our customer service works day and night. The men and women that make this system run. We used to be #1 in transit. We used to be #1 in transit on the way we were operated, the way our system looked. So now we're faced with cutbacks. We're faced with continuing to reduce the level of service. We have retirees that are on a fixed income. I'm a second-generation ATU. I grew up in this organization. My father is one of those retirees. The hard work that the men and women of this organization did should be honored. It should be celebrated. And we should recognize it. We have a process. It's a very simple one. Allow the third party to make the decision. Allow the law, from what's it entitled to do it. I'll wrap it up real quick. I encourage all of you. The reality is Neil was not the general manager when this thing started, but he's the general manager now. And I have respect for him at this point in time. I have continued and pledged that I'm willing to sit down, that I'm willing to negotiate, that I'm willing to make concessions, that I'm willing to talk about variable accounts, that I'm willing to talk about different tiered systems on new hires to come in. Our retirees are going to face January 1 with very little communication, and still to this day, to this very day, don't know the full magnitude of their plan. That is irresponsible. That's not the way we should do business. Let's rescind, send a strong message back that we are willing to work together, that we are professionals. My membership is upset. We've heard information about rumors that we're going to strike, that we're going to do a sick out. And I got to tell you, I'm starting to believe that the rumors actually came from TriMet management.
Amen.
Final thought, and I thank you. I'm just saying thank you. The final thought, and I thank you for being patient. As you can see in this room, there's a lot of our membership here. But you know what? It's only a small percentage of them. The rest of them out there are working really hard to make the system run. And we're going to continue to do that. But we ask you to do the same. When our operators break the law, they lose their job. If we can't get this resolved, we expect, no, we demand that somebody loses their job.
That's right.
Thanks again for representing the union's perspective in this ongoing labor dispute. There's no question in my mind that this will be resolved satisfactorily. This is a part of the process. We're at a critical juncture. You're correct. I believe that the law will be followed. I think there is disagreement about the law, and that needs to be interpreted by the courts or the appropriate people.
I agree.
I do think that if no other way it will be resolved by arbitration, my hope would be that you and TriMet management, your local TriMet management, can work something out in the interim. But there is no question that we will follow the law, and there's no question that this issue will be resolved, and probably in a fair manner. That's my hope, and that's our intention, and I believe we're on the road in a critical area of this process, and that it will be okay.
Well, Mr. Chair, you mentioned that Mr. McFarland was ready to go back to the table. Is there any information that anybody would like to provide today? Because from my last correspondence, I never got a return phone call.
There's a little bit of a miscommunication, at least to the board, on the willingness of ATU to engage in negotiations. So I think that's probably an area I'm not going to negotiate.
I understand. Mr. Chairman, just to follow up though.
I will say that, no, John, I will say this. I'm certain that Neil and management staff are willing to negotiate. I believe they have an offer on the table that...
Mr. Chairman, they're implementing, that's not an offer. And as we bargain, we need to have them rescind so that that collective bargaining process can take place. And if we're unable to resolve that, the mechanism is already in place and it's moving forward to arbitration. What we can't have is our members faced with all of these uncertainties as we sit down and try to do good faith bargaining. That's what got us into the problem in the first place, is because an unfair labor practice was filed and TriMet retaliated. Neil said in just 2 days ago, speaking to our group, that no, he would not have implemented this had we not filed an unfair labor practice. So I ask you, why is that the case?
Jonathan, you're addressing the board first.
Yes,
You're addressing
Mr.
the board first of all. This will be resolved, and I do believe that TriMet is willing to negotiate.
Could you give me a date, time?
And also, I want to make it clear that if there's, we need to get your members the information they need about health care. And I will pledge to work with management to do that.
Well, would you pledge that we should not have an open enrollment when people don't know the information? Would you agree that we should put the thing on hold
I
until
agree that you
everybody's
should have-
properly informed?
I agree that you should have the
This is a
information.
major effect on their livelihood.
I understand.
Retirees, January 1, will be faced with figures that they're not used to. They're going to be faced, whether on their limited income, what they're going to do. Are they going to eat properly?
Jonathan, I understand that, and I also want to, before everybody leaves this room, I want you to know that the board does acknowledge, appreciate what our unionized employees bring to the organization. That's something that I don't know that they hear, but we know it's a difficult, stressful job. We understand, and we have every intention of being fair in our labor negotiations and our ultimate compensation.
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, the message that came out from this organization through their PR person, the focus, the person that speaks for Neil McFarland and all of you, if you go back and look at those tapes, they have ran our members into the ground. They've disrespected our members. Go back and look at the snow and ice issues. Go back and look at the tragedies that have taken place. The spokesperson of this organization should be speaking collectively together. And I believe they're speaking for you, and the message to come out is not good. And we need to fix that.
Okay. None of this is going to be resolved in this session today, but we do appreciate your position, and we also appreciate your willingness to come back to the table and negotiate good faith.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman and the board.